Hi, and welcome to Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Diane Davidson. This is Bill Weidecker. We're partners, and want to thank everybody who's been very generous with contributing to our various Thanksgiving drives. It's been very heartwarming, and we're feeding 250 families, so thank you, thank you. Hi.
And just for the record, we're not one of the families, right?
No,
We're
250.
250.
250, yep. 200 in New Hampshire, 50 in Boston. It's our first foray down in Boston, but that'll be 200 next year. So next year the goal will be 400.
Wow.
Yep.
Ambitious.
Mm-hmm. So you're back from the National Association of Realtors annual conference, and you brought a lot of good stuff back. But we missed last week. We missed you last week and didn't go over the New Hampshire numbers. So if you wouldn't mind touching on those for our local viewing public, that'd be great.
I'm going to give you just sort of a bird's eye view of what's gone on in New Hampshire in October. But I got to tell you one thing that just sticks with me from the National Association of Realtor meetings, and that is one statistics that came out of the home buyers and home sellers report, and it's an annual report. For years and years and years, the average distance of miles that a home buyer moved was between 11 and 15 miles. So they're really moving from one community to the next, and it's never changed as far as I can remember. This year, the 2021 numbers that were just released at this meeting, 50 miles.
Wow.
So that's a couple things. People are moving because of they're willing to drive more for affordability reasons, because prices have just been steadily increasing. And number two, they're willing to move because they can. They can live farther away from their work. They might not have to drive to work anymore. They might be working virtually. And they also want to live somewhere where they want to live. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of that. And that bodes very well for New Hampshire.
I think they're living closer to their work, aren't they?
Well,
So
it's in the living
their
room.
bedroom to their living room or their basement. Or, anyway,
yeah.
Okay, New Hampshire numbers, without further ado.
So here's what I'm going to tell you. The year-to-date numbers were off 15% in units. Closed units year to date. And the only reason for that is because we just haven't had enough active inventory. We would be off maybe nothing because the buyers, as of this morning, the buyers are still out buying the active listings coming on. There's still a pace. In spite of what we're hearing nationally, there's still a pace of buyers that are outstripping sellers. So we're off 15% year to date, but in October, and this is an important number to look at, we were off by 26% for the month over last October. That's a big number. So I think what we're going to find by the time we get through the November and December numbers, when we're talking about the year end in January, we could be off by 20% in units. And I suspect that may be the case. We're going to be closer to 20 than we are 15. And the reason I say that, Diane, is the pending sales are off by 16% year to date, but in the month of October, they were off by 20. That's a really big leading indicator.
Yeah.
You know, pending sales lead to closed sales.
Correct.
Hopefully, right?
Usually.
That they don't know, but yes, usually. And yet, we see that there's still less than 2 months supply. So that being the case, if nothing else came on the market, by the time the new year came in, we'd be out of inventory. And so we're less than 2 months supply. And yet here, October of last year, we had 1.3 months supply. This year, 1.7 months supply. So it's a half a month supply, but when think about it, that's an increase of 30% in supply. Not a big number, nothing to really get too jazzed up about yet. Until we start to see 5-6 months worth of supply, we're not really reaching a market that's balanced. And homes for sale, 2,100 homes on the market, and as of this morning, there were less than 1,800 homes on the market. So we're still nowhere near enough active inventory, so there's a huge opportunity if you're a home seller to have a conversation about timing this market to take full advantage.
Because there are more buyers entering the market. That's something else that's not something we see here. We know it anecdotally. We know from open houses that we're doing. Last weekend, there was a new listing in New Boston, and through the course of the weekend with all the open houses, there were 6 parties who were either new in the market or who had taken months and months and months off and felt this was a good time to buy. So it's really an opportunistic time for sellers as well.
So the other big thing to look at is when sellers put their home on the market is like, what am I going to get based on what am I asking? So the year-to-date list price to sale price has been 102.6%. So you're getting 2.6% more than what you're asking. But October's numbers were 99.7%. So when you look at that, that's 3 percentage points different than the year-to-date numbers. That means that we're reaching into this market that you've called and you've affectionately referred to.
Buyer friendly.
It's a buyer-friendly market, and isn't that the case? Meaning, while it's not a buyer's market, it's friendlier than it's been in the last 2.5 years for buyers.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to get a home inspection if more than likely. Now, the best way to know that is based on the advice from a Fine Homes Group buyer agent.
Always the best way.
is to be able to just say, here's what I think the market tells us on this listing in this town, in this moment, right? Because if something's on the market and you go to an open house that's been on for a day or two, and there's 50 people at the open house, you might be it may be priced as such that you go, we may not be getting 3 percentage points off the list price here.
Right.
Anyway, a lot to think about, but that's, we still have this issue, which is affordability, and the affordability index has gone up a little bit. It's gotten a little bit better because the year-to-date numbers were 66, and now for October it was 69, but not quite anywhere near enough.
Yep.
Hope that helps.
That helped. It helps me. I hope it helps everyone else.
We look at these numbers. They may be boring in some ways, but what you're looking for is somebody who can give you as a homeowner some kind of perspective on what this means to you, and if not your most valuable asset,
Certainly one of them.
certainly one of them. That's right.
And to buyers too, perspective.
Of course,
Yep.
because this in most cases is one of the largest undertakings
Absolutely.
they're going after in their lives.
Yep. Okay, well, thanks for coming back into town, giving us the New Hampshire numbers and your interpretation of them. And that's it for today. So be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast platform or tune in to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.